We talking about sports, get ball.
What it do, baby? Yeah.
What it do, you number one podcast listeners? We are back with a brand new episode of the number one podcast in your headphones, Prem Brulee. I'm your host, Premal Bhatt, and for this episode, I'm joined by my big cuz, my big bro, Roshan. Welcome back, bro.
What's good, my man? Glad to be back.
Yes, sir. I didn't need pushing this time. It was me who rallied the troops for this one.
It was.
So I'm here for you, you number one podcast listeners. I don't always need a kick in the butt to do these. So we are here at your service here. We've come to face the music, or have we?
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned in a little bit. But before we get started, we got a lot to cover. Let's cover our sponsor. This episode of the Prem Brulee podcast is brought to you by Sleep Battle. Sleep Battle is a content creator, photographer, and artist based in Asbury Park, New Jersey. From cinematic stills, unique and classic wedding and elopement photos, even product or commercial photography like you see for the Prem Brulee brand, Sleep Battle is a full-service studio. Check out their new short, Showtime, available on YouTube now. I'll put that link in our episode description so you can support the brand. And stay tuned for their film, Please Laugh, coming soon. You can visit their Instagram at Sleepbattle, SLEEPATTLE, and give Please Laugh Film a follow while you're at it too. You already know the number one artist for the number one podcast in your headphones. We wouldn't have it any other way. All right, Rush, we've got a lot to cover.
Yes, sir. Let's get to it.
And you number one podcast listeners already know we start with yeah, fam or nah. So let's breeze through these. Our word association. First up, I wanted to cover the James Harden saga. James Harden was officially traded to the Los Angeles Clippers per his request the whole time. The Clippers received Harden, PJ Tucker, and Philip Petrusev. The 76ers in return got Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, KJ Martin, 2028 first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a pick swap in 29, and then I think they finessed a first-round pick from the Thunder in exchange for some other things. This marks Harden's fourth team since the 2020-2021 season. He started that one on the Rockets, as you remember, then went to the Brooklyn Nets, got out of there pretty quickly, he was on the Sixers, and then Daryl Morey did irreparable harm, I guess, and he wanted out.
Yeah.
After he played himself and opted into his final year of his contract. Worth noting, just in case you number one podcast listeners are wondering how it's been going, this was updated a little earlier, so these might change by the time this hits your number one podcast listening headphones, but nonetheless, they started this way. The Sixers are 8-2 at the time of this recording since the trading away James Harden. The Clippers are 0-6 since the trade, 0-5 in games that Harden's played in. So, yeah, fam or nah, what do you got for me?
I'm a nah fam. My word association is going to be, I'm going to leave it with his now all-star teammate who is load management master class.
What it do, baby? Yeah.
Have fun with it. You know, enjoy the locker room and your team cancer. Your city strippers will be paid handsomely. But other than that, I can't vouch for... I don't know where Harden's gotten this, like, gigantic, like, delusions of grandeur that he's found himself in. But the shit he said the other day was like... I'm not meant to be in a system. I am the system. It's like, that system fucking sucks, buddy.
Congratulations.
You've literally won absolutely nothing. You haven't even been to a finals as the quote-unquote system. So maybe shut the fuck up once in a while and try to play basketball and try to show up for the team you are getting paid very well to play for.
Totally agree. I'm a nod of this. All the reasons you said, I think I'm all for player empowerment, but if there's one person that's abused that, it's James Harden. I mean, 4 teams in 5 seasons is crazy. And you just outlined it. So let's start with Houston. Houston made so many moves to fit him. You know, they brought in Dwight Howard. They let go of Dwight Howard. They built a team around him the way he liked. Still didn't work. Then he finds his way out of there and goes to Brooklyn to team up with KD and Kyrie Irving, and they barely played together. He goes to Philly to play with arguably the best big man in the league, Joel Embiid, and finds his way out of there, and now he's on the Clippers. And I think this situation, I have trouble seeing how it's going to work. I mean, you have him and Russell Westbrook who need the ball in their hands. It's been described ad nauseum like Harden and Westbrook aren't the type of players like Steph Curry is, where they can move without the ball and fight around screens and get open shots. They need the ball in their hand.
Yep.
How is that going to work in LA? I just can't see the fit working, and we're going to be here again at some point, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm a nod of this. I think it's not like he's left bad situations. He's had good ones, even starting his career when he was a sixth man for the Thunder. He's never been in a bad situation.
He's constantly had MVPs on his team, and right now he has, finals MVP at the very least, former MVP in Westbrook.
Yeah.
And also I kind of feel bad for Westbrook at this point because he's kind of like rehabbed his image a little bit in the Clippers, and he's been playing pretty well from what I know and from what I hear, and he's been doing really well for the team. So to come in there and kind of shake that shit up is kind of weird move on all points. And also the 76ers absolutely fleeced the fuck out of the Clippers on that trade. They got some pretty good players for them.
They got expiring contracts just like they want.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have a ton of money to spend in the offseason, which it will be used to entice Embiid to stay, obviously, pick up someone else on their team, and it's given Tyrese Maxey free reign to let loose, and I think he's a great combo with Embiid. So here we are. At least that part of the saga is over. So until he requests his next trade,
It's the pretty boys
we
versus
get to
the petty
pause and
boys.
all that.
To be fair, I don't think he's going to be able to request a trade. I think isn't he a free agent at the end of this year?
That's true. Yeah.
So
that's true.
I will be very hard pressed to two things. One, a contract more than 1 year. I don't think any team's going to be willing.
I
to
wouldn't give
him
it
that.
to him.
And two, he's not going to see a 3 at the beginning of that contract either. It's going to be probably a lot lower than he's expecting. So he better enjoy this $35 million, whatever he's getting paid, because it's probably the last one.
The petty is real. Might charge my ex for a feature.
Anyway, okay, the other big piece of news, we had to cover it. The Michigan sign stealing scandal. Okay, let's get the facts first before we establish our takes here. People know at this point it was a elaborate sign stealing and future opponent scouting, I'd say, like ploy or plan that was seemingly established by now former recruiting employee Connor Stallions. That name is infamous at this point. Everybody knows it. Jim Harbaugh received a 3-game suspension from the Big Ten Conference. This was after the NCAA opened an investigation into what's going on there. Worth noting, the NCAA hasn't ruled on anything, but he did have to stay away from the stadium and off the sidelines in their win against Penn State this past weekend. Obviously, the game, the big one's coming up, Ohio State and Michigan. So I would imagine that is their main area of focus. Okay. All that being said, I don't think we need to do a fam or not of this one. But what do you got for this one?
So I'm just going to say something quick, and I'll let you take over. As an Astros fan, I found this story funny. But also, as an Astros fan, I'd like to say congratulations to Michigan for doing what everyone seemingly seemed to be doing in the Big Ten. I wish the punishment that Michigan faced was similar to what the Astros got, but I guess, the Astros will remain a scapegoat for the rest of the teams, and Michigan will just get off easy. And I think this is going to be a blip in the system. I think they're just going to overlook it and just kind of brush it off and just keep it pushing, which is honestly what baseball should have done, but they made a whole big fucking pony show out of it. So
So here's what I'll say about this, because, I want to be safe saying anything while I don't know what extent other teams do this.
Right.
And also nobody wants to hear an Astros and Buckeyes fan
What it
speak
do,
on this.
baby?
But the former part of my point has more to do with the Astros side of it, because how many times have we talked about us wishing we could know what extent other teams do this? And
Right.
was it just the Astros getting caught or being made an example? Or were they really just the only ones doing it, which I find unlikely. Which I also find unlikely Michigan's the only one trying to steal signs or do what they can to bend/break the rules. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, for whatever level you think Connor Stalions' elaborate scouting has an impact on the game or how well they've done, at the very, very least, they were incredibly stupid and careless. I mean, this dude is photographed near all these coordinators. He was in disguise on the Central Michigan sideline trying to scout a future opponent. Like, at the very least, he was reckless in doing what they were doing. Also, I do want to note this. The future scouting they did, meaning Connor Stalions led the way seemingly to have people, or he himself went to games to scout their future opponents, which is expressly prohibited in NCAA law or rules. In the 90s, they outlawed going to future opponents' games to scout. So, again, at the very least, he was expressly breaking a rule, because there's records of him buying tickets to all these places. And whether every team does this also is besides the point. Their unfortunate issue, Michigan's, is that the time period in question that Connor Stalions reportedly started this whole plan coincides with Michigan's significant improvement. So they are going to have to prove that this was just a coincidence and not that the sign stealing was a major reason for their increased success. Because Michigan was winning, but they weren't winning the big games. They weren't winning by as much. There's statistics everywhere that show that improvement since this reportedly started.
Right.
But one thing is for fucking certain. Michigan and Michigan fans, take this from us, because we didn't do this. Nobody wants to hear you play the victim card. Not one single person wants to hear it. So whether you have to double and triple down and all that and say it's us versus them, that's fine. I get that. Believe me, I get that as an Astros fan. But you are not a victim in this. You got caught at the very least, so you were stupid enough to get caught.
Facts.
But there's no feeling sorry for you from this side.
Yeah.
Especially from this side, my
Hell
side,
no.
but a lot of people. So anyway, more on this later, because there is another thing I want to address that has come out this week that is worth being on You Played Yourself. So, I'm not going to stay fully calm on this, and this is all subject to change as we find out more. You want to bring up these next two? You added these, so I'll let you intro these.
Yeah, sure. Next on Yeah Fam or Nah, Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so according to the self-researcher himself, he is aiming to be looking at playing in mid-December, which would
Crazy.
be absolutely fucking insane. I mean, Is this safe? Is it smart? He's 39, who knows?
Yeah.
But it's truly insane that we're even having this discussion. He tore his Achilles on 9/11. Like, if you look
Yeah.
at a calendar, it's seriously fucking 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And you're talking about in 1 month, 90 days, he's going to be back on the football field, full contact. Like,
Yeah.
mind you, of all players, he probably doesn't need a lot of reps. This guy's like one of the best QBs, whatever it is. But it's pretty crazy. So, yeah, fam or nah, you think he should play, or got a word, phrase, or something to describe what's going on over there in the Rodgers camp?
Listen, as much as I'm against his takes on medicine, all that science, all that stuff, because I think he's full of absolute dog shit. There is no denying that this is a fam. It could potentially be huge for the future of this injury. I mean, people would study that. Now, his injury in the operation they did, from my understanding, it's kind of like a new way to do that surgery. It's what Cam Akers, who's now Minnesota's running back, but this was back when he was on the Rams. That's how he came back so quick from his Achilles injury. I think this was last year. So you're starting to see this kind of pick up. I think J.K. Dobbins, who tore his Achilles this year, did the same one. So I'm interested to see his timetable. And also, he's younger, so how that's impacted.
Right.
Plays a different position, like you said. So probably has to get in better, like, stamina, like game shape. And I don't know this for sure, but I would assume Kirk Cousins did, because I just saw a video that he does all the charity work, and he was already in walking and stuff too. Yeah. So I imagine he went to the same doctor. So it could revolutionize things. I'm a fan of this, but I'm an absolute nod to like the high horse that Aaron Rodgers is going to be on, like claiming it has to do with his philosophy and not the amazing doctor and medicine that
for sure
put forth the plan to do it. So I'm a fan, because what was thought of like as a career-ending injury, if this happens to be true, could revolutionize things. Like a 39-year-old coming back that quickly would be quite the like example case.
I am also not looking forward to getting dunked on by Aaron Rodgers. But other than that, I'm also a fam. The word I'm going to go with is unprecedented. It would be absolutely insane to see a 90-day turnaround on a torn Achilles and see him coming back, planting his foot, and launching fucking nukes 50 yards. Like, that'd be crazy to see. Obviously, I'm rooting for it to happen. His doctor is going to be extremely busy if this works out.
Oh, yeah.
His price, yesterday's price is not today's price already, as it is. It kind of reminds me of like Justin Verlander getting Tommy John and like coming back and winning the Cy Young. Yeah. Like, this could pretty much give him like a new lease, like a few extra years on his career. So that should be pretty cool. All right, moving on. We got one for the NBA, the in-season tournament. Okay, fam or nah, the in-season tournament, something that's kind of creating some early spice in what I feel is like pretty much the spiciest league as is. We'll get to that a little later. But some of these boys are approaching these games really seriously. It's creating some really great games early in the season, which pretty much never happens. I can't remember the last time I watched an NBA game before Christmas, much or less
I was just
before Thanksgiving. Typically, I'm like using this time to just fuck off of sports, watch a little football, and not really do much. But it's got me watching the NBA early. So I don't know all the rules, but I do know that the winners get $500K. There's a tournament at the end, like knockout games, all that good stuff. Championship in Vegas. So fam or no? I'm obviously a fam. I'm kind of already talking about it, but
I'm kind of a nod of this. Well, first of all, those basketball courts are awful. Some of those
they're hard to look at.
Oh my gosh, they really went. It's like they let a little kid try to design a court for this tournament. I know 500K is a lot. I would love to have 500K like that, but I'm talking proportionally to NBA salaries. It's cool to see people buying in. I guess I can't argue that. But I would love to see something more significant on the line than money that they already make tons of.
Sure.
I've heard floated like a playoff spot. Now,
that's fucking spicy.
That would be spicy. I'm really for it. If that's too much for people, I think it should guarantee at least a play-in spot. Like, if you weren't the top 10, it gets you the 10 spot.
For sure.
like something like that. I think I would like that more, because then you're really going to see people like, oh, if I can get a guaranteed spot for the playoffs, that changes strategy on
absolutely
fucking everything. But I don't know the logistics of that. I guess if they get buy-in like they already have, there's no reason to change it. But I think part of that is like you have some of the faces of the league that are like ambassadors of the game. So it's almost like that you're that example person that gets everybody hyped up. It's like, I'm a good company man, you know, that sort of thing. So I can't tell if like, I know LeBron's like reportedly a cheap ass, so it's like 500K is 500K or I won't necessarily say that. Maybe he wants to just like donate it. I don't want to put that in his, you know, like maybe they're planning to do something really great with that 500K. But like that to me, in the grand scheme of things, even like the lowest paid dude, maybe for like the 15th guy on the bench, 500K is a lot. But true. For a vast majority, they're earning like a shit ton of money. So anyway, but yeah, we just learned a little bit more about it. So we'll see. The Final Four happens in Vegas, and that's in December. So these games will keep going until then, a couple times a week. So in case you number one podcast listeners haven't looked up the rules like many of us have not. All right, you number one podcast listeners, you already know what time it is. Let's hit that You Played Yourself intro, baby.
I'm petty as hell. And I'm super petty.
Here we
Petty Le Pew.
go.
Oh yeah, number one podcast listeners, we know why you tuned in. So without further ado, You Played Yourself. I teased this earlier, so we want to pay it off right away. First up on You Played Yourself, a first ballot You Played Yourself Hall of Famer, Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh this week said that Michigan is America's team. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. So You Played Yourself goes to Jim Harbaugh, and also the narrative that, you know, the University of Michigan and the football team are trying to paint. So before I get there, just so you get full context, Jim Harbaugh said,
perseverance, just the stalwartness of these guys. I mean, yeah, watching, I would have to say, I mean, everybody. It's got to be America's team. It's got to be America's team. You know, America loves a team that beats the odds, beats the adversity, you know, overcomes what the naysayers and critics, so-called experts think. That's my favorite kind of team.
You're great.
oh boy. Take it again from a fan of the Astros and a fan of the franchise dubbed America's team. Jim, you are wrong. I can't even begin to tell you how far from America's team you'd be. You're arguably the foremost cheater right now in all of sports. So you think America identifies with that or wants to identify with that? You aren't overcoming adversity. It's adversity you created your damn self. Is it really called adversity when you created the shitstorm by your own fucking dumbass self? Also, this narrative that they're painting, like, so on one hand, Jim Harbaugh's calling Michigan America's team, but the team and all their fans are saying it's Michigan versus everybody. Do you see why that doesn't make any fucking sense?
Gotta pick a side, baby.
If you're America's team, who's everybody then? Who are you against?
Yeah, I don't think Russia's watching college football.
Look,
No, I don't think so.
so I don't have to get pissed.
You played yourself. I mean, I just about like broke my neck shaking my head so much at Jim Harbaugh's quote. Like, this dude is one of the most odd dudes, like,
He's a weirdo, for sure.
in press conferences and stuff, but like that's just an objectively stupid comment. Anyway, next up on You Played Yourself, I did want to have a moment for the Patriot Way. You Played Yourself goes to the Patriot Way.
I think this is the
As we
first time
record
for
this-
the Patriots, huh? On You Played Yourself? It's
Yeah, I
gotta
think
be.
so. I think so. Yeah.
If not, it's got to date back pretty far to where
Far-
we can't
far
remember.
time, yeah.
The CT has made us forget, but
Yeah.
congrats to the
No
Patriot
kidding.
Way.
Yeah. So the New England Patriots are pretty famously 2-8. Not only that, over the last few years, they've made some really bad draft picks that have not at all panned out. In addition to that, a Bill Belichick disciple, Josh McDaniels, was recently fired by the Las Vegas Raiders. Obviously, we're in the middle of the season. The Raiders then proceeded to immediately start winning and being overall happier under interim coach Antonio Pierce. You might have seen videos of Devontae Adams in what was McDaniels' last game as Raiders coach compared to how he's been lately. McDaniels, this is now his second failed head coaching stint. He spurned another team. I think it was the Colts at the time.
It was the Colts, yeah. So technically it's 3 failed stints.
Yeah, so I'd have trouble believing that he's going to get a shot. If not
he's cooked.
Me, yeah, so what it tells me is I think the Patriot way was really the Tom Brady way, and he masked a lot of their shortcomings. I think that's been made pretty clear because Tom Brady left and won with the Buccaneers, and the Patriots haven't really done anything significant since. So, you got anything to add here?
Yeah, I mean, I think time has more than proved that Brady wasn't a system player for the Patriots, but the system was built around and for Brady. He's done nothing besides prove to everyone how good he was. When he went to Tampa Bay and won a ring in his first year with the new system, new coach, whatever, that was easily the most fuck you ring in like NFL history. Like I cannot think of another one. And like you said, Belichick and the Patriots really haven't done anything. They did get to the playoffs with Mac Jones, so people were kind of testing the waters there. But their defense was legit. Now that their defense isn't as stout, Mac Jones is very obviously shitty.
You will recall, though, heading into that Mac Jones year and beyond, they had a ton of cap space.
They did.
So they really could have signed their choice of people. They chose to spend it on like multiple tight ends and stuff like that, and some defenders. So that adds to their like kind of misses on moves.
Right. Yeah, like Hunter Henry and all those weird signings they did.
Yeah, Johnny Smith.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
True. Yeah. So Belichick's like even seen some hot seat rumors come his way.
Yeah.
That's something.
Now,
5 years ago.
I don't know about yeah.
I don't see it happening, but the fact that they're even there is wild to me. Like 10 years ago, you couldn't have even dreamt that up. Like, there's just nothing that made it seem that way. But just even seeing those pop up on your timeline is kind of like jarring.
Yep. Oh, also don't forget, I think they put Matt Patricia as an offensive coordinator last year, and it was just a disaster.
Yeah.
He's clearly rewards his own guys, which is fine. That happens a lot in coaching trees, but it's an issue when it continues to not work.
Yeah, and Billy O back under the offense doing jack shit per usual.
Yeah, Mac Jones has become a turnover machine, and I don't know if he's the guy. It doesn't seem like he is. So anyway,
my QB could never be named McCorkle. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say about Mac Jones.
Alert.
Amen.
Alert.
Okay, and we got another You Played Yourself first ballot Hall of Famer on this episode. It's a special one for you, number one podcast listeners. Draymond the Woat Green is back. This dude had ejections in back-to-back games. He then, in a scuffle with Klay Thompson and a Timberwolves player, Rudy Gobert stepped in. Rudy Gobert wasn't trying to make peace or anything. He escalated it. But then Draymond Green charged in and put Rudy Gobert in a chokehold and kept it there for a while. Nothing like closing off his air passes, but like just like not allowing him to move freely.
Yeah.
The NBA decided to suspend Draymond Green 5 games. They do have him as like a repeat offender, so he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt anymore. That's why he was suspended, I think, in the playoffs last year. So that's worth noting for those of you detractors that say you didn't deserve it. They take into account repeat offenders and people that are acting up like Draymond Green tends to do. Yeah, You Played Yourself goes to the vote yet again. You got something to add here?
Of course, first of all, quick You Played Yourself to us for softening up a little bit on Draymond, letting him, win over some good points with us, with whatever cool shit he said in the past. But he's back on his bullshit.
He's back. Couldn't help it.
Rudy Gobert is for sure like one of my least favorite players in the league right now.
I agree. It seems like a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, and I don't, man, sad to say, I don't really have a real reason, but...
Oh, I got one.
Okay.
That whole COVID thing, he was the first case in the NBA.
Goofy.
Remember? He
made
touching
all the microphones
a mockery
and
of
shit.
it. Yeah.
And I think it's just funny, like him always getting cooked in the playoffs. But anyway, back to what we're saying. I gotta give it up for his truly hilarious quote. He said this right after when they asked him about Draymond and Draymond getting suspended and all that. Quote: "Every time Steph doesn't play, Draymond doesn't want to play without his guy Steph, so he does anything to get ejected." And I just find that fucking hilarious and incredible. But it's not as incredible as Woj tweeting out that Draymond Green, get this, Draymond Green will lose $769,970 for the 5 games he's missing.
Oh my gosh.
That is damn near $1 million fucking dollars, because this man does not have anger management. Buddy put Rudy Gobert in a sleeper chokehold mid-game. Also, the funniest point about all of this was that the score was 0-0. Yep. Someone on Twitter made note of that, and I thought that was incredible.
Yeah, it was like 100 seconds into the game or something like that.
0-0 score. He is putting a 7-foot man in a sleeper chokehold.
Three ejections before a point was scored.
That is insane.
Yeah, and like Steve Kerr was complaining that Klay Thompson got ejected and that he shouldn't have. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure Klay Thompson started the whole thing.
Yeah, watch the film. Yeah, again, like I said, NBA, spicy as ever, does not fail to deliver.
Yeah, one thing we forgot to mention with the in-season tournament, they clearly tried to appeal to like English Premier League and soccer leagues have found a lot of success with those like in-season tournaments.
For sure.
That drive a lot of like eyes. But anyway, you don't need that when Draymond tries to turn an NBA game into a WWE match. He went in so quick. You could tell he had some like Draymond's like talked about Rudy Gobert a bunch of times. Yeah. That was a lot of pent-up frustration.
He was waiting.
Right. He knew exactly what he was going to do.
It was a beeline.
All right. So I think it's time, you number one podcast listeners, you might be wondering, when were we going to finally talk about this and face the music? So You Played Yourself goes to our Houston Astros as well as ourselves.
Yes.
Now listen, did we talk shit? Yes. Will we be held accountable for the Astros blowing the ALCS by not winning a single home game? No. Will we continue to double and triple down on the Stros in their golden age? You bet your ass we will.
Look, I say petty, so I don't have to get petty.
Reverse, You Played Yourself. You thought we were going to play ourselves.
Yeah, we're not playing ourselves.
Hell no.
From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Rosh, you go.
Okay, so the last time I was on here, I made sure that I was, realistic in my shit talk. And I said, for what it's worth, I'll still deliver the eulogy if we don't win the World Series. Yeah. And I wouldn't, cheat you out of that experience. What a great line by me. So while I'm here to lay, quote unquote, rest to the incredible Astros dynasty, let's say you couldn't win one game at home in the ALCS. I mean, you could have brought the trash cans back out or something. All the pitchers decided to implode. Kyle Tucker turned to Preston Tucker. Man, come on, dude. They seriously left the easiest ring and a no-brainer dynasty on the table.
I know.
That's probably the thing that hurts the most, other than the fact that the Rangers won. And, it was an easy ring. All disrespect goes to the Diamond Hacks. But regardless, I'm going to go ahead and pull the straw man and point all my vitriol to my personal You Played Yourself candidate, Dusty Baker. But listen, everybody, before you start booing me, I know he's a baseball lifer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's an incredible father, a great player, husband, coach, whatever. But much of myself and much of the Astros fan base that is now very spoiled, he's been a really bad manager this season. Let me just explain a few things because I know I'm right. This guy had Barry Bonds on his team. He's had Bryce Harper on his team. He is a certified vibes guy. He leaves pitchers out there too long because he quote unquote believes in them. Meanwhile, you have Framber Valdez melting down every 5 days because of that. He constantly chose to sit a Rookie of the Year candidate in favor of Martin Maldonado, the worst hitter and the worst framing catcher in the league. Pitcher ERAs were down across the board, but he maintained that he was their quote personal catcher. No other team has this shit. He had several weird-ass quotes about players like Chas McCormick. He was like, Chaz isn't one of the big boys yet. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying, bro? He's saying this during a playoff run, and I'm just like mind-boggled. You know, once he retired, he said that bloggers and 30-year-olds on Twitter were a huge reason for his retirement.
That was back to Dusty, right?
Yeah. And... well, to steal a line from Kamala Harris, we did it, Joe. I might be a little older than 30, but I hope he saw my tweets. I mean, could you imagine Dusty Baker in the Yankees fan base or the Phillies fan base? We're soft as fuck. Bro wouldn't last a day in those fan bases. Anyway, I'm going to close it up on one quote. He had a quote in, like, August about Yainer Diaz not playing over Martin Maldonado. Yainer Diaz also had like 23 home runs and 65 RBIs, which Maldi couldn't even sniff that in 3 full seasons if he wanted to. Quote, everybody wants him to play every day, but it's tough. It's like a young quarterback. How many quarterbacks come in and take over right away? The way I've handled it, he'll thank me. The city will thank me, and the organization will thank me later.
So, congratulations. You played yourself.
No, we won't, buddy. You put your own ego before this championship caliber team, and like we said, you left an easy ring on the table. He put his own feelings before playing the right players, and now he got pushed out of the organization, just like he got pushed out in Cincy, San Fran, Chicago, and Washington. So, thanks to Dusty for your service. I'm very happy we got his ass a ring. That is a huge plus.
You were on that train for a while.
I have been shitting on Dusty for over a year and a half, probably close to 2 years, but
Why you pouring me? I'm right.
he was the right guy for the job. I will say he was the right guy for the job in 2020. He righted the ship. I'm glad we got him a ring, but he did not need to be here this year. But speaking of quarterbacks coming in and taking over right away.
Wow, what a segue.
I think I know a guy.
Who?
Have you heard of him?
I might have heard of him.
I think he went to a school you're familiar with.
Who?
You damn right he did.
Buckeyes legend, C.J. Stroud.
You love to hear it. Go Bucks alert.
Yeah, that's the perfect segue into our next You Played Yourself alert. Basically going into everyone who, I think we kind of touched on this before, the Bryce Young discourse that was favoring Bryce over CJ. Everyone said that the Panthers were the better situation and Bryce was set up to succeed with, the quote-unquote right weapons. The Texans were a disaster. Turns out C.J. Stroud has turned our entire wide receiver room into a bunch of Pro Bowlers. That ragtag offensive line is now quote-unquote great protection as these goalposts continue to move because CJ's coming in here into a system he doesn't know with a new head coach and just fucking killing it.
First-time head coach, too.
Yeah, first-time head coach. I'm not mad, though. I like being the underdog. It'd be nice to get a couple of games flexed into prime time so everyone can see, my son play. You got anything to add to that? I think we were talking about another one, too.
We were talking about another comparison because with C.J. Stroud's ascension, naturally comes up with the Texans' former franchise quarterback, A1 Deshaun Watson.
Right.
Who is, as of recently, out for the season. He's going to have an operation on his shoulder. I think he has a broken bone in there. So, as we all probably remember, the Browns threw the bank at him. They mortgaged their future for him. They traded 3 first-rounders and gave him a fully guaranteed deal. So you put these stats together. Hit us with the comparison, Stroud versus Watson.
Yeah, so now that this tweet went viral in Houston, so it obviously found its way to my timeline. The Texans basically got 3 first rounders for Watson, obviously. They got a couple of other picks. They got some second rounders and a fourth or something. But in one season with Stroud, which is only 9 games in, by the way, we have 2,600 plus yards, 15 touchdown to 2 interception ratio, and 2 game-winning drives in 10 games.
Yeah.
Any Texans fan last year would have taken that shit in a heartbeat. Even if we never won another game, just the
forget any Texans fan, by the way.
Exactly.
Most fans would take it.
Yeah. And on the other hand, the Browns, they lost those 3 first rounders. They guaranteed $230 million. They've had Watson for 3 seasons, one of them ending in a season-ending injury, one of them having an 11-game suspension due to 26-plus assault allegations. In that time, he started 12 games to CJ's 9. He has 2,200 yards-ish. That's 400 less than CJ. 14 touchdowns. That's 1 less than CJ. And 9 interceptions. That's 7
Crazy.
more than CJ. Yeah, it's safe to say we won the trade, and the Browns are truly fucked. Cleveland gonna Cleveland, man.
Yeah, that's just brutal. I mean,
Yeah.
they were counting on him returning to form, and he has not been that guy.
Yeah, now he's hurt.
So-
Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Look, I stay petty, so I don't have to get petty.
Okay.
I had to throw him in there.
Let's wrap up with their non-sports. You played yourselves.
All right.
Okay. I have one that recently came to me. You number one podcast listener, some of you might be like me, some of you may not, but feel free to at me and disagree if you feel. When did it get decided that as you get older, gifts don't have to matter? Like, okay, listen, I love giving gifts. Really do. I love surprising people with them. It's like how I show love. It's a big love language for me. But I also love receiving gifts. So, I mean, herein lies the problem. So, seeing my son open and enjoy gifts, there is absolutely no greater joy. But does him getting gifts and me getting gifts have to be mutually exclusive? Why do I have to stop giving and not giving? Why do I have to stop receiving gifts around the holidays? Like, who decided that? Why does it have to be that way? Every like family secret Santa or whatever turns into like, well, we'll whittle it down further, or decrease the amount, or not everybody needs gifts, or fewer people need gifts. Why does it have to be that way? Why can't I enjoy something stupid that I don't need but I want? Sure, I buy things for myself, but it's nice when other people buy for you. I like giving gifts, so why can't I like receiving them? And also, just before I turn it over to you, gets talked about all the time, but also you played yourself to daylight savings time.
Yes.
I can't say anything that hasn't been shared already, but especially it sucks to start working when it's dark and finish working when it's almost dark. That's probably the worst one, in my opinion. So, yeah, you played yourself to those 2 things. What about you?
Yeah, I'll second your daylight savings time. But for the record, I'm also team no gift. Sorry to break it to you, but
Why? What? Who doesn't love a gift?
I love gifts, and you're a good gift giver. I've received gifts from you, but you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it my goal to, like, small or big, whatever. I'm gonna go out and find something. I'm gonna send that shit to you, just because of your little rant. You deserve a present. You deserve a present for putting out the #1 podcast in your headphones. I'm gonna get you
man.
something. All right.
See, I am a gift giver. I
got
to
you.
guys.
I got you, baby. I won't let you
People
down.
reciprocated by listening, so that's a gift
For sure.
to me. But
Yeah. Nah,
But those
sometimes
lame
I get
gifts,
it.
you know, like-
I get it. You don't need intangibles. You need, like, let me hold something in my hand.
hell yeah.
All right, respect. I can respect that. All right, so my personal you played.
Wait, real quick. Okay. I feel we as adults have been like almost pushed into that silo. Like, as you get older, you're not supposed to like gifts, and I'm here to say it's okay if you still like gifts. That's what the service I would like to provide to you all. I am a sounding board for you to agree with me, because it feels like it needs to be said at this point. As you get older, people are like, oh, no, you don't want a gift. It's like an assumption. Like, no, those aren't important. Like, why? Why can't they be just as important for the adults as they are for the kids? Way more important for the kids around the holidays. I do get that part, but doesn't mean I can't get a gift. Like, why do we gotta be that lame? Anyway, okay.
See,
Back to
like you haven't had your own team on this episode. Neither of your two major teams right now that are playing, they haven't been it. But this is the most heated you've gotten.
I know.
On today's episode. Go fucking figure. It's about presents, bro.
Yeah. Give the Cowboys time, though. You know.
All right, yeah. They'll be on here soon enough.
They're the gift that does not keep on giving.
Man, that one wrote itself. Yeah. All right. So my non-sports you played yourself goes to one of my favorite artists, Andre 3000. Now you might be asking, why the fuck is Rosh mad at Andre 3K for no reason? He hasn't put out an album or any meaningful music outside of, a few amazing features in about 17 years. But guess what? Today, I was online and I saw, oh shit, he's dropping a new surprise album. By the time this episode drops, it'll probably be out. I was like, oh my God, he's dropping an album. We're finally here. You can't wait to hear the bars? Nope. What about some amazing production? Hell nah. Did you want an experimental album with flutes? Buddy, you're in luck.
Mr. Burgundy, we will be honored if you will play jazz flute for us. Would everyone love to hear Ron Burgundy play some jazz flute?
Yes, Andre 3000 is dropping a fucking experimental flute album.
What it do, baby?
While this sounds like a prank, it is 100% not a prank. He released a track listing. Each song title is like 25 words long.
I saw it. It's like a whole sentence.
Yeah, he's doing his best Fall Out Boy impression. I'm like, what the hell is happening? What simulation are we living in? And why can't he rap anymore? He's in on this prank. I'm convinced of it.
He claims he's not.
He's in on it, man.
I think track number 1 was like, it makes it very clear he's not rapping on it. And I guess I heard him interviewed, and there's going to be like the rapper on the outside of the album is going to say like no bars, so it'll be like very clear that it's not a rap album.
Yeah,
but it is fucking like, if you've seen videos of people running into him on the streets, I think he lives in New York or whatever.
Yes,
he literally carries around a big flute and is playing it everywhere.
Yeah, he's just continuing the joke. I'm taking him off top 10 lists until further notice. Man. This prank has gone too far, man. And
are you gonna listen to it though? Be real.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to it. What the fuck you think I'm not gonna listen to a flute album? I'm not gonna like it, but I'm gonna listen to it. I can't talk shit about it unless I listen to it.
Lizzo's gonna be so pissed. Like, you couldn't even let me have this, Andre.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to my promise is I will listen to at least 1 minute of every song before I hit next, and 10 minutes later I'm like, this album fucking sucks. So I have one more you played yourself too.
Okay.
We're around the holidays in honor of Thanksgiving. I don't feel like this is talked about enough. I'm gonna give you played yourself to pumpkin pie. By far the worst sweaty armpit of a pie. It fucking sucks. If you like pumpkin
100%.
pie, your taste buds are shit. Get some better taste buds, folks. And I know you would have liked that one, but pumpkin pie fucking sucks.
Yeah, I'm so with you on that. Like, if your pie needs to be covered in like Cool Whip or whatever, it's not a good pie. I'm sorry to tell you. And I don't know if you agree with this, but you can pair sweet potato with pumpkin pie and put them both in the trash.
Yeah, toss sweet potato in the trash too.
Yeah, get those vegetable pies out of here. Those aren't desserts.
We're not here for that shit. Give me a cherry pie. Give me an apple pie. Quit playing.
Amen. Yeah. Coconut cream pie, my top one.
Same. We're Indian. Yeah. That's a given.
Yeah. Respect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Respect to the coconut.
Time for Am I Hating?
Yes.
You know, I'm on podcast listeners. If you have a sound clip idea to intro this section, I would love to hear it. We will feature you on the episode every edition if you have something good for us to add in Am I Hating. Hit me up. You know how to get a hold of me. You can find all my social handles on there. We need a sound clip to intro this section because it's here to stay. So, without further ado, Rosh, do you have an Am I Hating for this episode?
Surprisingly, man, I don't think I do. Maybe it's because, I moved through the 5 stages of grief on the Astros season. Maybe it's because I got to talk some shit about Dusty Baker that I've been long wanting to say. Or maybe 'tis the season, bitch. You know, I'm not in a hating mood right now, so I'm gonna let you have this one.
Tis the season, bitch.
Yeah.
That might be our episode title right there.
Jolly old Saint Roche over here, man.
Am I hating? It's always the season for hating, so I of course have one for you. This is a nice segue from your last. You played yourself to your non-sports one, actually.
Okay.
Am I hating if I don't get how someone's favorite holiday is Halloween? Like,
Nice.
y'all really stretching getting candy and dressing up for one day into a spooky season? Nah. Like, I got neighbors who expand their decorations for Halloween every year more than they work on their own house. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? The best part of Halloween is the candy. So give me the candy, but, like, miss me with all that other stuff. Like, and I get a lot of people out there, you number one podcast listeners might be some of them. You guys like scary movies. Like, that's cool, to each their own. Like, I don't get the concept of, like, wanting to be frightened all the time, but this is absolutely should not be a season. You with me or no?
I think I'm on the fence with that. Like, I guess I used to like scary movies a lot more than I like them now. I don't like throttling my mental state anymore.
Yeah.
So I typically don't really do that. I do fuck with candy though. But that is available for many holidays.
For sure.
Like, we're gonna get like candy for Thanksgiving. You'll get candy during Christmas. You get candy for fucking Easter, man. Like,
yeah.
Candy's not exclusive to Halloween.
Easter low-key does have some fire candy too.
It does, man. You get those Reese's. Okay, the Reese's eggs with the peanut butter.
Yeah.
The peanut butter to chocolate ratio and the eggs are perfect.
Yeah.
That's my personal take.
Also, like, the jelly bean varieties go crazy. I'm a big candy guy, so especially the Starburst jelly beans.
Yeah, I do have a shit take. I know a lot of people hate candy corn, but I do like candy corn a little bit.
Oh, damn.
I know. I'm not gonna die on that hill or anything, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like, it's not that bad.
I'm hating on you for that.
I also like black licorice too, so I like a lot of bullshit sometimes.
I was legit gonna drop the candy corn line when you dropped the one about pumpkin pie. I'm like, I was gonna say it's the candy corn of pies. I'm glad.
I accept that. I know candy corn kind of sucks. The people who like pumpkin pie don't know it sucks. I know candy corn sucks, but I like it.
All right, now it's time for who you got and what you feeling. So, last episode we made picks for the ALCS and NLCS.
Oh God.
As we predicted, I think at the time, I think we both were like partly right and partly wrong. Mm-hmm. We don't need to rehash that. We know what happened, unfortunately. So whatever, skip.
Doesn't matter.
We also talked about most surprising NFL teams at that point in the season, both good and bad. So I wanted to do that again for this episode because we're past halfway in the season. And I thought it would be a good time to really talk about some of the teams. So, I got a few candidates for you, good and bad. First, we have the 5-5 Buffalo Bills, the 2-8 New England Patriots. We mentioned them earlier. Also mentioned earlier were the Cleveland Browns. They are actually currently 6-3. Their division opponent, the Pittsburgh Steelers, are also 6-3. Your very own Houston Texans are 5-4. The Las Vegas Raiders, also mentioned earlier, they are 5-5 after winning their past two games. The Los Angeles Chargers are 4-5. The Giants are 2-8, and the Minnesota Vikings, without Kirk Cousins now, are 6-4. So I'll go first, and I'll get your take.
All right.
I think most surprising for me is the Buffalo Bills. I am really surprised that they're 5-5, and the tough part for them is that their schedule gets tougher. It feels like each year they've been pegged to take the next step, but they've been going the opposite way. You know, since they were that overtime game where Josh Allen never got to touch the ball and they missed out on going to the Super Bowl. Since then, they've been eliminated even earlier in the playoffs, and then now this year they're in jeopardy of not making it. So to me, that's really surprising with their loaded roster and the way everybody talks about Josh Allen, which, by the way, we're pretty close from putting him on You Played Yourself because I don't think people talk about how much he turns the ball over enough. So
yes, for sure.
We need to keep that same energy we have for some other quarterbacks. What about you? Who you got for most surprising?
Bro, you know I got to roll with the Stroud boys.
Yeah. Obvious.
Stand back and stand by.
Stroud boys.
Because my win prediction for this year was like 6 wins. We're already at 5.
And you probably would have taken that before the season, too. Like 6 is like...
Yeah. If you told me we're going to win 5 games, I'd be like, fuck yeah, that's more than like last 3 years. We're 2 field goals away from 7 wins. I'm not surprised at like some of those teams. I am surprised at Buffalo. I'm surprised probably most by the Chargers. But at the same time, I'm not surprised because Herbert's always been kind of mid. And I mean, the team just seems so loaded on both sides of the ball. It's hard for me to like see how they suck every year.
Yeah. They're another team that everybody expects like to take the next step and they just never do.
Yeah. I think him and or them and Buffalo really are like very similar teams. But I mean, at least Chargers have the excuse of playing in the same division as the Chiefs. I don't know what Buffalo's excuse is this year, but you know.
Okay. Do you want to cover this next one we got?
Yeah. So with the NBA underway, we're gonna have an MVP race brewing. Let's kind of face it though, Jokic is on a fucking tear. His current stat line's like 29, 12, and 8. So I mean, if everything holds up, he's the runaway winner. It's not even a question. But let's talk about kind of his competition. You know, is it Embiid? Is it Tony Davis? Is there a dark horse? Yeah, I know. We had to laugh. We got jokes here, bro. I guess who you got for like a dark horse candidate for MVP?
Okay.
Assuming Jokic doesn't win or like, you know, God forbid he gets hurt or something stupid like that. Who would be next in line to get the MVP?
That's a good one. Okay. We're talking dark horse, but not fully dark horse, right?
It doesn't have to be fully dark horse. It could just be like some guy you think.
How about I got 2 for you.
Okay.
Luka Doncic.
Yes.
And unfortunately, King Snake Kevin Durant.
Okay.
I won't count it, but I feel like
I'd count this one.
He's been the healthiest out of the Suns trio.
Yes.
So that would lend itself to that narrative part of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Luka doesn't really need an explanation there, but I'll go with those 2. Who you got?
Luka would be a fun one. I'm gonna roll with Jason Tatum.
Good choice.
He's playing pretty lights out right now. His stat line's 28-9-4, pretty great stat line. He's gonna need a few more assists to be considered.
Just thought of another dark horse.
Let's hear it.
Real quick. Anthony Edwards.
Okay. He's balling, bro.
Yeah.
He's yamming on boys. He's balling.
He's likable, man.
He is very likable.
I don't know of anybody that like doesn't like that guy.
Yeah, he's very likable.
Go ahead.
I like
Sorry,
those.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I think that's all. I think that's a pretty good field we got. Let's see how these guys pan out, and this way we can bookmark some of these predictions and see how they pan out later in the year. But I like KD too, even though I don't like KD. He's balling. He's getting older, so it should be pretty surprising that he's playing this well.
I'll make my official selection Ant-Man.
Okay,
Like,
I like
truly
it.
go with it. Yeah.
That's a real dark horse.
Yeah. Oh, worth noting, we did pick teams that are like currently near the top of the standings. Obviously, we're only 10 or so games into the season, 10 to 12. But yeah, like the narrative with Jokic is he's going to be the best player and they're trending to be the best team again because they're just like firing all cylinders.
Yeah.
But yeah, top 3 right now in the West are the Nuggets, Mavs, and T-Wolves. And you picked Tatum. Celtics are top of the East. 76ers are 2 in there. So yeah. I mean, at least we got that portion of the race correct.
Yeah.
See if it stays that way. Doubt it. Okay. let's move on to what you're feeling. I'll go first and then get what you're feeling lately.
All right.
You mentioned it earlier, Thanksgiving coming up, so that's what I'm feeling. This is prime food season from now until the inevitable Team Snacks episode, aka the Super Bowl. Your guys' so-called spooky season turned into poopy season. We gotta test those GI tracks for everybody.
Hey.
Everybody's gonna be nice and full, taking big old dumps. So the real season is upon us. So make sure everything's working well. Take those fiber supplements. Make sure all the plumbing's working fine, because it's gonna really get tested here in the next 2, 3, 4 months.
Impressive.
Poopy season is upon us, baby.
I love
What you
it.
feeling?
I'm gonna keep the food theme rolling, and before it gets too cold, I'm feeling pho season. For you Midwesterners that don't know, it's a bowl of like Vietnamese noodle soup, broth, noodles, meat of your choice, bean sprouts, whatever you like to add in there. Is very hearty, is very like soothing to the soul. It's one of my all-time favorite foods at this point.
You're gonna disrespect the Midwest like that? Like, we're not a melting pot? We got so many Vietnamese spots.
Y'all ain't got that shit like we got it. Y'all ain't got that shit like we got it. Come on.
It's not like Vietnam is right below you as a neighbor. It's not like it's Mexico. You can't claim that.
We got big Vietnamese population in Texas, man.
When you visit here, you'll have to try some of the spot. Now, I don't really fuck with pho.
Why not?
I've tried it a few times. It's like, I'm not really a big soup person either. Like, the broth is just so like,
it's so
really
hearty, man.
Me. I get the vibe, like,
you a wonton soup guy?
Every once in a while, but not really. Like, you know me, it's a lifestyle, so I don't really be fucking with warm liquids.
Okay, respect.
Pause.
That
big
checks
pause.
out. That checks out. Big pause. Yeah, for sure. Let me see. Do I got any other what you feelings? Oh, actually, you know what? The end of the year's coming up. I'll probably put out an end of the year playlist again. I'm gonna do something a little different this year, but it'll be still pretty cool. I'm not doing like a top 50 albums. I don't think I listened to 50 albums that I fucking like this year, but I got some shit brewing. I'm up to something.
You've been not very enthusiastic about the music this year, so
yeah, I don't think anyone wants to hear 50 emo albums either, so I'm gonna do something different.
That's where I get my fix. I use your playlist to listen. I give you live commentary as I listen to them. It's a fun tradition we have.
We're pushing it to rap is crap again, man. This shit is pissing me off.
Good thing Andre 3000's here to say. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, seriously. Even 3 Stacks is like rap is crap. He's gonna make a flute album, bastard.
All right, on that note, let's wrap up this episode with Too Much Sense. Hit that intro. All right, you number one podcast listeners, my Too Much Sense for this edition of Creme Brulee is: don't be mad at people for not reaching standards that they've never met before. We can't set our expectations of others based on what we want from them if they've repeatedly shown that they're not that person. For example, if I'm mad a friend doesn't check in on me, but they've never been that type of friend before, I'm really getting upset over an unrealistic expectation I set for them that they A, never knew about, and B, never lived up to before. So you're setting yourself up to be upset for no reason. And that's my Too Much Sense for this episode.
Excellent as always.
Yes, sir. All right, you number one podcast listeners, that does it for a brand new edition of Creme Brulee. I've been your host, Premal, joined by my cousin, Roshan Bhatt.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining me, man.
Always.
Yes, sir. You already know the drill. Number one podcast listeners, like the podcast if you haven't. Review it if you haven't already. Share it with a friend. Have that friend share it with another friend. I greatly appreciate you all, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yes, sir.